Hello, welcome to another English Sparkling with Tweedy video. Forgot the name of the channel for a minute then. It's been a disappointing evening so far. I was in a nicer setting than just my back garden earlier. Took a bottle along with me which turned out to be faulty, so I've had to abandon that. I think it was just hopeless. As a recap, Court Garden are a neighbour of Ridgeview down in the South Downs in Sussex. Is there any useful information on the back here? Probably not, but I think this is a classic blend of Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier, the usual suspects. Nice sort of golden colour there. What do we have on the nose? Lemony, appley sort of a thing, I suppose. Not quite as instantly fruity and well defined as that Blanc de Noir was the other day, which I think I was really quite impressed with. But there is a, I don't know, usual sort of fruit bowl of maybe more lemon than anything and apple, with a bit more swirling. That lemon's becoming quite nice, actually, quite focused and intense. A focused lemon, as opposed to one of those unfocused lemons who just bumbles their way through life. Not really sure what their purpose is. That has a nice reassuring intensity to it on the palate. Nice sweet and sour blend there. Decent amount of acidity. Actually a reasonable amount of sugar there, but it's not overly sweet. And one of the things that I often notice in Court Garden is a slight tropical hint. Pineapples. I don't know, is it on there on the nose? I'm not sure. But I feel like I can get that on the palate. A slight hint of something like pineapple, which is always really interesting because that only really seems to come from Court Garden and Ridgeview, from the Chardonnay grapes particularly grown at those two neighbouring sites. Ridgeview also buying grapes from other vineyards around the country, so it's only when Ridgeview makes a Blanc de Blanc that is purely sourced with grapes from their home vineyard that you notice that. But there is this interesting commonality. I think they're on, is it a green sand ridge? So it's not chalky soil as you would expect, being they're sort of at the foot of the South Downs. That is in so much better condition than the very disappointing, probably faulty bottle I had earlier. Different producer. Quite mouth-watering. Sort of interestingly slightly tropical. I think the fruit character is overall probably familiar, sort of orchard fruit, citrus, but there is this slight twinge to it that's kind of pineapple-y, which I quite like. I'm noticing now some autolytic notes on the nose, sort of biscuity, pastry-ish sort of autolytic notes there. I'm almost slightly reminded of Garibaldi biscuits. I don't know why, but if the raisins or sultanas or whatever they are in those Garibaldi biscuits are replaced with little bits of dried pineapple, something like that. But then a decent amount of zing and sweet and sour. Good old Court Garden will make for a very drinkable wine this evening. Cheers.